Hi. Could you please admit me to the Spanish line? Hello?
Spanish. Are we set again now?
Are you?
Hi, could you please admit me to the Spanish line? Can you hear me?
Yes, I did see someone in the Spanish line. I admitted them. Are you still waiting to be in, or are you in now?
I'm still waiting to be let in.
I think you admit me again. This is Rosie and Alexander Vasquez is waiting to get admitted on the language line.
All right. It doesn't show me any additional people waiting on the Spanish line. One moment. I don't have anyone in the waiting room.
It's the code 7937123.
No, the number is 347-966-4114 and the code is 664
Oh, so
384956. I send it twice to you, Alex.
no, but you sent me the wrong code.
Me?
One second.
Oh my God, Alex, I sent you the wrong code. Oh God, Alex, I'm sorry. 966-4114. Okay, I'm doing
all
it
right.
again.
So hey, Andrew.
He's dialing. He's
Okay.
dialing now.
Let me actually switch over.
Give him a second, please.
Thank you so much. We'll do absolutely.
And 664-38495. Okay, Alex. I send it over again.
Thank you. I should be in the waiting room now.
Andrea.
I'm sorry again, but could you check if you can see me on the waiting room? Please. My apologies. Could you check one more time if I'm in the waiting room for Spanish?
Yes, let me look for you now.
¿Me escuchas, Alex?
Yes, loud and clear.
Creo que me escuchas en Zoom, pero voy a apagarlo y te voy a preguntar si me escuchas en Language Line, ¿ok?
Okay.
Are you into the line now? I believe I just admitted you.
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, and apologies for the inconvenience.
More than welcome. That's okay.
Yeah, I try and make the copies.
All right, let me know if there's any other issues on the back end. I can help you guys for the tech side. Co-President Daniels, are we ready to rock and roll with the calendar? Okay, understood.
Yeah, I know. I gotta make sure I got mine too. Give me a second. Send the copy. Okay, good. Cause I want us to get that tomorrow. But, you know, we got one more week after that for the budget. That's why. Yeah, I'm about ready. Hello?
Yes, are we ready to move forward?
Yeah, I guess so. So what we started with, cause Greece is not here yet.
We are going to start, hold on one second. We're going to start with the calendar meeting. All right, so I'm going.
Online that was for the presentation.
Yes. That's why I was asking, can the people that are in the room?
It's my brother this way. Oh, it's on. All right.
Hold on. All righty, thank you all for coming to the CCD 75 join. I'm sorry, Councilmember Butler, are we able to be heard on the outside? Can you hear on the smart board?
We're trying to turn this. Ooh.
I definitely heard you. There was just a bit of an echo with it. Give us one moment as we work through the volume and technical difficulties. Test 1, 2, 3. Okay. All righty. Thank you for joining us tonight for the CCD 75 June Joint Business and Calendar Meeting. This meeting is being live streamed on YouTube currently. You can join us at CCD 75 Outreach at youtube.com. With that being said, we are calling this meeting to order at 6:23 p.m. Co-President Daniels, would you be able to do a roll call for us? We can't hear you online. You're muted. I can read your lips, but we can't hear you on the Zoom. Will it give you the feedback if you unmute? Are you able to unmute the device that you're on, Co-President Daniels?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's loud. Oh my God. Okay. All right, I got it now. All
Would you
right,
be
good
able to-
evening. So let's call the meeting to order at 6:25 p.m. Christy Angel, can you state the rules of the meeting?
Well, before we jump into that, what we want to do is have a roll call. So if we could, for the council members that we have here, Co-President Daniels, do you have that form in front of you, or
I don't have nothing in front of me but the few things I told you I have.
Okay, our AA, forgive us, our AA is actually out sick.
I don't have
We
that.
do have Shanique Butler, who is here, Co-President Daniels, Councilmember Vanessa Barrero, and Co-President Christy Angel. That leaves us at 5 council members. Actually, we do have Vice President Christy Montalban online as well. So that leaves us with 5 council members, and we do not have quorum. With that being said, and to respect the time of the parents online and the parent and advocates and district that is in the current space, we will go ahead and move forward with our meeting. With that being said, we do have interpretation for the meeting. So I would like to give the floor to our Mandarin interpreters for instructions.
上好，如果需要中文翻译，请拨打电话号码347-966-4114 ，ID 号码是458-780-775，井号键。再重复一遍，如果需要翻译服务，请拨打347-966-4114，ID 号码是458-780-775，井号键。Thank you. The Mandarin interpreter finished the
Thank you so much. We will now give the floor over to the Spanish interpreters to give your instructions.
Muy buenas noches a todos. Si ustedes desean escuchar la reunión de esta noche en español, por favor van a marcar el número 347-966-4114 con el número de identificación 664384956 y el signo numeral. Announcement made.
We will now give the floor to Bangla interpreters for your instructions.
Thank you. The following message will be for Bangla participant. আপনারা যারা আজকের এই মিটিংটি বাংলায় শুনতে চান সেক্ষেত্রে আপনাদের ফোন থেকে ডায়াল করবেন 347-966-4114। আমি আবারও বলছি আপনাদের ফোন থেকে ডায়াল করবেন 347-966-4114 এবং পিন চাইলে দিতে হবে 316-033-067#। পিন দিতে হবে 316-033-067#। আপনাদের কোনো প্রশ্ন থাকলে কিউ&এ সেকশনে লিখতে পারেন অথবা আমাদের মাধ্যমে প্রশ্নটি করতে পারেন। কোনো কিছু না বলার থাকলে অনুগ্রহ করে মিউট করে রাখবেন। ধন্যবাদ। থ্যাঙ্কস। বাংলা অ্যানাউন্সমেন্ট ইজ ডান।
Thank you so much. Let it be noted at 6:29 p.m. our council member, Ms. Brisa Arias, has arrived. We do now have quorum. With that being the case, the council will start with their business agenda. Can we please have someone who will be our timekeeper? If not, I can try to monitor the time from this end. Co-President Daniels, everyone, you see the agenda before you. Do we have any other items to add to the agenda?
For the business meeting?
Yes. If we
We're
do,
missing about the absences, I believe it is.
okay, we can, you want to add that under new business or add it as a bullet point now?
We can add it in now.
Okay, so if everyone is willing to add in the discussion for the absences, if we can take a quick vote for that, if we're uniform and everyone says aye, we'll go ahead and add that to the agenda so that we can move forward as a bullet point. Do we have any members that disagree with adding the bullet point? If not, then we will go ahead and adopt.
No.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Everybody's in agreement, apparently.
Then we will adopt the agenda with the addition of the absence discussions for our business agenda. Co-President Daniels, I will hand the floor over to you for the rules of decorum.
So this meeting is being recorded. Yeah, well, it's already on. Okay, never mind. Just want to let everybody know the meeting is being recorded. That's all. So for the business meeting, the first, we gotta do roll call again because we doing the business meeting.
Oh, no, we want to go through. I'll go ahead and just share it out. For the rules of decorum, we wanted to walk through. I don't know if that was, you guys have to forgive us. Our AA is out sick, so there were several items that were sent out to our council members that they may not have present in
Don't
front.
have it.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and run through that for you guys. One moment. The rules of decorum in brief, these are taken from the CCD 75 bylaws. The purpose of the rules of decorum is to provide clear expectations.
Excuse me, could you please go slow down because we're doing a simultaneous
Absolutely.
interpretation.
Apologies.
Thank you so much.
I definitely can. The rules of decorum in brief, they are taken from the CCD 75 bylaws. The purpose of the rules of decorum is to provide clear expectations for our meeting participants in an orderly manner to ensure that the public has the full opportunity to be heard and that the deliberative process of the council is retained at all times. Per council bylaws, speaking time is limited to 2 minutes per person. Questions asked by speakers shall be considered to be part of the allotted time of the speaker. Discussion and charges related to the competence or personal conduct of individuals will be ruled out of order. When a speaker is ruled out of order, the speaker's balance of time will be forfeited and the speaker will be directed to leave the microphone. Council members, for electronic meetings, for those of us that are online, please remember to raise your hand to be given the floor. Members do have 2 minutes speaking time. We encourage members of the public and council members to not interrupt the speaker who has the floor unless the speaker is ruled out of order. At this point, we may move forward to Co-President Daniels. Would you like to go ahead and start the discussion off with the absences since we did add that to the top of the agenda?
So one of the individuals with the absences actually resigned. So that person is already gone. So we don't have to discuss that council member, but there's still 2 other council members with excessive absences.
Council members, per bylaws, we have had a discussion before where absences are only counted for calendar meetings. However, we do have members that have missed at least 5 calendar meetings. And what we do request from you and what is in our bylaws is if you are unable to make our meetings and there is a reason, to please let us know. We simply cannot move in a space of saying, I will not be present, I will be online, and stand in the expectation that council members can excuse an absence, that we have no feedback regarding what the absence is. With that being said, we would need to discuss how council members would like to move forward with one of our council members, where we have to basically go through our absences now. With 6 of us here, I understand that we do have difficulties with our children. We have difficulties with childcare. We have difficulties getting back and forth. I completely understand. One of the main things that we have to do with each other is communicate so that we can make sure the business of the council still moves forward. With that being said, do we want to have further discussion? I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but Co-President Daniels, how would you like to move in regard to us making these either excused absences, unapproved absences? What we would have to be realistic about is that technically having more than 3 unexcused absences means you are vacating your seat by not being willing to serve. So
before we go into the council member that's here, the one that's not here that said he was going to resign, how many absences does John Harmon have?
At this point, he has actually resigned from the council.
I didn't see the resignation letter.
In the email when he said he was the June date. So I would have to, he actually did resign. And then he's making sure that he has his reimbursements. The last 3 are done. So he reached out in addition with that today, because I asked him to make sure.
So he reached out for the reimbursements? Because I was trying to reach out to him for that.
He reached out to make sure that we got his resignation and that if he could still do the reimbursements. And I let him know that we would still make sure that he has that taken care of.
All right, so there's only one more person left.
So we have Jamaica Collins, who has formally resigned from the council. Our public advocate, John Herman, he too has had to resign from the council. So that leaves us with 6 people and a discussion to be had when it comes to the work that we need to do with the council and communication that we have per bylaws when it comes to making sure we're available for the public. So do we have any feedback? Ms. Montalban, do you have any feedback? Ms. Butler, Ms. Barrero, Co-President Daniels, Ms. Arias,
we just need to discuss the absence of the final council member, because there's more than 3. It was 5.
It's 5.
I think one was excused, so it's technically 4.
Yes.
But it's still past 3.
It is. Ms. Arias.
Yes.
Would you be able to add context to the discussion? I know we have a heart for you, and I know that just seeing, you at the dinner and bringing your son and seeing you in person, at the meetings, I understand the different level that you're going through. Is there information that you would want to give the council in spaces where you have not, that we might be able to consider some of these absences excused when we didn't hear from you?
Yes. So in regards to the absences, I was having issues with childcare. But moving forward, I've been able to, now that I kind of have the 3 weeks in advance of knowing location and time of meetings, to be able to make the meetings.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of setting up the childcare as in, like, today we just finished this meeting, and by tomorrow I have childcare for the next month's meeting.
Okay, so it was the issue that council member Arias was having was due to childcare. I know that we have a lot of grace. I know that we have our bylaws. How do members want to move forward? Let me.
I would like to.
Yes. Yes.
excuse one of her 4 absences to make it just 3?
3 would actually
Does
still
that
put
mean
her in a
she
place
couldn't
to
have no
vacate.
more absences?
3 actually puts us in a place to vacate. So we would.
Okay, so then we
Is
would
it,
have to excuse 2? I mean, what are we gonna do then?
is that what we're saying, Miss Arias? Were the last 2 meetings that you couldn't make, the May 15th meeting and the April, I believe, business or calendar meeting, were those 2 meetings also spaces where you were having difficulty with the child care and you just weren't able to let us?
I believe I made my meeting.
The
One
business
of them that she
meeting,
was there
yes,
for.
yes, yes. You made the business. I'm sorry, say it again.
She was there for one of them at Tweed. I
I
don't
believe
remember
that
which
was the
month though.
business one. The calendar is the one that made the absence.
No, we know. I know that.
So do we want to go through and make a vote for this, or are we
One was already
immediately?
excused. Technically, she has 5,
So she has
but
4 unexcused
it's
absences.
4 because we excused one already. So I just want to know, what are we gonna do now? 'Cause I don't want to just, you know, this is difficult for me right now. This is really difficult.
Understood. Do council members want to, are we in a space where we are at least willing to maybe excuse the last 2 absences that Miss Arias has, and that leaves her with the 2 absences, and then moving forward, as long as she communicates correctly, she should not be in a space of danger to have her seat vacated? How do members feel about that? Just so that we're able to move forward.
All
I'd
right,
like to.
I feel like that's fine.
we're gonna have to go into executive session.
Okay, so we'll table this for the end of the meeting, and we'll go ahead and move forward into our next session. And with that, that is our committee updates. For outreach, I'll be brief. I do want to go ahead and make sure that you guys have at the end of the year report for outreach with the people that we've reached out to, the numbers, the insights from online. I do want to say thank you tremendously to all of the council members that are there in public right now. You guys have stood in the gap for the council and for myself. You've shown up to our outreach sessions, parades, legislative breakfasts, the dinners, and I want to just really give a heartfelt thank you for the spaces where you guys have stepped into. With that being said, we did really have a great turnout and a great experience at our awards dinner. It was really great. We thanked and got to celebrate parent coordinators, teachers, principals, and parent advocates. So we do want to say thank you again. We do have some things that we're going to be moving forward with as far as workshops that has to do with 988, with mental health, and with mental health resources for our parents. So those workshops should be coming up soon, as we want to make sure we support our parents if they are in any crisis space, or if they need any other level of support with their student and or child. The next update would be from the busing committee. That chair would be Co-President Daniels.
Actually, it would be co-president Daniels and the co-chair of
Vanessa
Busing
Barrero.
Committee,
Yes.
Vanessa
Apologies.
Pereira as well. Okay, so the last time we did the busing committee was last month in May. Vanessa, you remember what we discussed? I know we was asking about the busing concerns.
We asked about some issues that parents were having.
Can you hear her?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
We were just discussing some issues that parents were having and hopefully planning for the future and how to decrease the amount of issues that happen in September, in the beginning of the school year. So hopefully that's something we can work on.
That was about it, because we still got some more things to work on for the next year. We haven't really went through all that yet. With all
Okay.
the events I've been going to for 4 weeks.
Okay, thank you so much. The next committee is the annual report committee. We have a few things that we need to accomplish with that. As we know, we were not able to do what we wanted to do fiscally for our annual report. We only had $1,200 to give a writer. This made it very difficult to have the different things that we need. With that being said, since we are pulling in some of the items from last year into this year, we are still adding committee reports, and we are adding in some other long form items that need to go into the report. Additionally, we want to make sure that all council members are heard in all sections where we are making recommendations. With that being said, momentarily in the calendar meeting, I will pull forward the information that we have from the, from the current writer.
Is it because
And
we sat there?
no.
Oh, okay.
We would need to basically vote on the preparation that she's made for the report so that we can go ahead and finish it out. The purchasing card is closed in 2 days as of the 14th. However, we would need to go ahead and receive the work of Dr. Butler in order to have her paid for the work that she's done in aggregating the data and going through different pieces and in finalizing at least her portion of the report and assisting us in getting that done. Do we have any questions regarding what's going on with the annual report or anything that I just brought to the council's attention?
No.
Okay, thank you. If not, I will go ahead and pull up that information. Sorry about the feedback. In the next section, I will hand it over to Co-President Daniels to give us updates about the Bronx Parade and the Bronx Barbecue meet and greet with the parents advocates of CECs in the Bronx.
What are we up to? I'm sorry.
Just wanted you to give us an update in regard to the great work that happened at the Bronx Parade. We do have some of those pictures up. We will be adding that on our website so everyone can see in totality. We do thank Ms. Claudia Chavez for helping out with the photography. We have a slew of photos that we can't wait to share with everyone else. And then there's, you were on the planning committee, so I didn't know if you wanted to give out a few more thank yous or give further information about what we're working on with the CEC.
Yeah, so with the Bronx Week Parade was one of the events I helped to coordinate with a couple of parent leaders, including Claudia Chavez was one of them, and Miss Stephanie Bonilla was also on that committee, who's the D75 rep for CEC 11. And we also had Miss Wanda Belines, who was also on that committee. So it was just basically the four of us. And we was trying to get the D75 parents to sign up to walk in the Bronx Week Parade. We had quite a few people signed up, but there was a little bit of discrepancy because some people signed up in the Bronx Borough President's sign-up thing instead of our sign-up sheet. But we had a decent amount of folks there from District 75. I know P17 was definitely in the house that day, and our council was there. All of the committee members on the Bronx Planning Committee were there. Claudia, as you know, was taking all the pictures like she always do, and then me and Stephanie and other parents were marching, and Wanda and everybody in the parade, and the council members that were there were Miss Shanique Butler. Is it Butler? I want to get it right. Hold on. And Miss Vanessa Barrero couldn't make it at the last minute, but she did let me know. And Jamaica Collins was there, our former council member that just resigned. I was there, and I think Miss Shanique Butler, she brought some lady with her. I don't know, was one of her friends, a family member, somebody she had with her. And it was nice. It was a nice day. You know, it wasn't like too hot. You know, and I actually had fun. It was more better than just work. Like and I have fun doing it. And we're gonna do this planning committee again next year. That was already discussed. Now, as for the other thing with the Bronx BBQ update, I think you should give that update, Co-President Christy Angel.
Okay, in brief, there is CEC 11 and a few other Bronx CECs with PEP member Thomas Shepard looking to basically make a very comfortable, hey, how you doing? We made it to the end of the school year. This is something that isn't very massive. They're looking to keep it, kind of family oriented with the CECs that are there. CEC 11 president, she would be more of the point person. So if there's a level of interest, if you are in a CEC, we can make sure to point you in the correct direction so that you would be able to participate.
One more announcement. I just want to thank a few more people I'm forgetting for the Bronx Week Parade.
Yes.
DPAC President's Council for D75. CEC 11 joined us as well, and others from CEC 10. And we had some CCSE members who were also present at the parade, in addition to D75 reps and the D75 CCD 75 Council.
Awesome. Thank you guys for the level of work that you put in for the council and how you show up. The Bronx is always in here strong, so we always say thank you to the Bronx. The next section that we want to move on to is our open meeting law amendment. Wanted to go over that with the council members so that you are aware of the changes. Co-President Daniels, would you like me to read through that, or would you like to take the floor to read through that?
So it was only the highlighted area, right?
Oh, no, that's for the bylaws. I can read through this one if it wasn't printed for the council members. This is a memo dated from April 25th. On April 20th, 2024, Governor Kathy Hochul signed into law Chapter 58 of the laws of 2024. Part KK of Chapter 28 provides for a 2-year extension without other modification until July 1st, 2026 of the amendment of the open meetings law established by Chapter 56 of the laws of 2022, expanding the use of video conferencing by public bodies to conduct open meetings under extraordinary circumstances, regardless of a declaration of emergency. The previously issued guidance on this topic. In addition, Chapter 58 also amended Public Authorities Law to add a new section 2829 to clarify and reinforce the fact that state and local authorities are subject to both the Freedom of Information Act and open meeting laws. All state and local authorities as such terms are defined in Section 2 of this chapter, as well as all subsidiaries of such state and local authorities as such terms are defined of Articles 6 and 7 of Public Officers Law relating to the Freedom of Information and Open Meetings Law, respectively. The amendment further provides that all such authorities and their subsidiaries shall, to the extent practicable, stream all open meetings and public hearings on their website in real time, post video recordings of all open meetings and public hearings on their website within 5 business days of the meeting or hearing, and maintain such recordings for a period of not less than 5 years. This amendment relating to public authorities goes into effect on May 20th, 2024. So moving forward, we will be recording our meetings and we will be live streaming it to YouTube in real time so that parents are able to join us in real time. Do we have any questions regarding the open meetings law amendment?
I don't. Anyone else have questions?
No.
If not,
okay.
If not, we'll move into the individual performance reports. I know that a lot of us are new, and these reports basically show what meetings you've been going to, the contributions and things that you have done with and or for the council. The template has been emailed out to all council members. If you do have any questions about the months that you were here, the meetings that you attended, if you need help filling out the forms, please do let us know. But we want to be responsible and accountable to make sure that all of the good work that we're doing is on record and that we turn it into the correct people so that they know what we are doing as a council. The next space of review, Co-President Daniels, if you'd like to read the bylaws addition that we would like to add for vote and for discussion.
The amendment piece?
Yes, please.
Okay, hold on. The highlighted piece or the whole thing?
The highlighted, basically, members, we discussed this before at a separate meeting. What we're looking to do in the highlighted section that you have in front of you, if I can screen share, I'll try to do that. We are looking to establish transfer of power within our council so that when we have different co-presidents or when different members leave, we make sure that records are being transferred. We make sure that any documents and passwords are being transferred, that the keys to the office are being transferred, and that we do this in a timely manner to support the executive board or the new members that are coming through. And if we have this in our bylaws, it continues to support the council as anyone moves through it with the expectation of how we move with transferring power. With that being said, Co-President Daniels, could you read the amendment that we're asking to put into the bylaws?
So the amendment that we have for the bylaws amendment recommendation rather is in the highlighted yellow area all you council members have. So I'm going to read off of that. So the president / the co-president shall prepare for the June transfer of records, including inventory checklists, signing sheets, or pertinent user IDs and passwords to the incoming president / co-president. Keys to the office shall be provided to the incoming president / co-president no later than 72 hours after election. This is the piece we would like to add in the bylaws for the amendment recommendation.
Do we have any debate and or discussion regarding that, or do we have a motion on the floor to bring this to a vote?
I make a motion to bring it to a vote.
Do we have a second to bring what we're bringing to a vote is to add the language of transfer of power into the bylaws? Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
So it was brought forward by Councilmember Butler and seconded by Co-President Daniels. Without the AA, I am taking some brief notes of our members who are here. Ms. Butler, do you have a roll call list in front of you?
I do.
Would you be able to assist in the motion for adding the transfer of power to the bylaws? And I have it as rightly put forth by you, seconded by Co-President Daniels, and then we would just need to take a vote of the 6 members that are here.
Okay. Andrea Daniels?
Yes.
Christy Angel?
Yes.
Risa Iris?
Yes.
Vanessa Barrero?
Yes.
Christine Montalban?
Yes.
And Shanique Butler? Yes.
Okay, that is 6 yeses. The motion is approved for adding the transfer of power into our bylaws. The second space for bylaws that was not added in that I do believe we should add in. Currently, for our joint meetings, we're starting at 6 p.m. However, for bylaws, we are supposed to start at 6:30 p.m. Is this something that council members want to make the adjustment for in the bylaws so that we move accordingly to the times as we have it listed? Or do we want to leave room for flexibility?
I say leave room for flexibility.
Because the original time was 6:30, but we've been starting at 6. And what's in the bylaws is 6:30. So we want to keep it at 6. We want to have flexibility. I really don't want to put it back to 6:30. We've been doing it earlier.
Well, we can always postpone it for our next meeting, like the annual meeting, to jump back into discussion for that. So if everyone is in agreement, we can postpone this until the annual calendar business meeting in July. Speaking of such, do we want to make a vote right now to merge our annual meeting in with our business meeting and our calendar meeting so that we have one meeting on, I believe we voted for July 10th. So do we want to make sure that all of those meetings are in one date?
For July or every month?
Just for the month of July. I think that we might want to merge August as well, but we can discuss that in July. But just before we get to our annual meeting, we wanted to bring it to the floor to just see if everyone wanted to make that one whole merged meeting.
I'm fine with that.
Do we have a motion on the floor to merge our business and calendar meeting with the annual meeting for July 10th?
I make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
Secretary Butler, would you be able to do a roll call for us?
Andrea Daniels.
You want to change the date? We got to do it over. She's not going to be here.
Okay, so Vanessa has a problem with that date.
What day you available though for July? July 14th after that.
So I'll be back like July 15th. It's a cruise. That's long.
Okay, July 10th, Councilmember Vanessa Barrero is not available, so can we move the date if possible and still merge the meetings?
Yes. Councilmember Montalban, do you have I know that you had mentioned you were going to be on vacation one of those dates too.
That's why she's
Not in July, August.
In August. Okay. So what secondary date do we have that might work for everyone?
17th of July.
I'm fine with that, Ms. Montalban.
There is a holiday that day on my calendar. I don't know if that.
Oh, Ashura, that is.
For the 17th?
It is. I'm looking on my calendar.
24th.
Then we have to do it all the way for the 24th, like Ms. Butler just said.
Okay. If everyone is in sync with doing this on the 24th, we're making a motion to amend. Ms. Butler, do you want to amend your motion to make it the 24th versus the 10th?
Yes, I amend my motion and make a new motion for July 24th.
The motion on the floor is to merge our annual business and calendar meetings for July 24th. Do we have any further debate or discussion? If not, we can move this into a roll call vote. Please, Secretary Butler.
Andrea Daniels.
Yes.
Christy Angel.
Yes.
Bree Cyrus.
Yes.
Vanessa Barrero.
Yes.
Christy Montalban.
Yes.
Shanique Butler. Yes. So a new date.
All righty, we have 6 yeses. The motion is approved. Our July meeting will be for July 24th. That will be a joint meeting for annual business and calendar. Thank you, council members.
Do we want to do the August meeting now too, or just wait?
If members are open to it, I'm fine with merging the August date.
Christy Montavon, you know when you go on a vacation, right? So we need to see when you could be here.
So for August, I can do the 7th or the 14th. I'll be away the 21st.
The 14th is good, I think, because we're doing the July 24th one already, so probably the 14th would be better, in my opinion.
Do we have
August 14th.
Okay. Do we have a motion on the floor to make our business and calendar meeting joint for August 14th?
I make a motion.
That date is fine, August 14th.
We have a motion on the floor for August 14th for our joint business and calendar meeting. Do we have a second?
I second that.
All righty, thank you. Recording Secretary Butler, would you please move us into roll call vote?
Andrea Daniels,
Yes.
Christy Angel,
Yes.
Risa Arias,
Yes.
Vanessa Guerrero,
Yes.
Christy Monaghan.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see.
You say yes? Christy?
Yes.
Okay. Shanique Butler, yes.
All righty, I'm going to jump us over, since we're going to bring the annual report over in the calendar meeting, and I'll brought that up briefly. The next space is our public advocate update. We have spoken with the public advocate's office. They are in the process of giving us 2 different individuals. They are hoping that this process will be finished, hopefully, within the next 2 weeks. They have been diligently working on our council's behalf to make sure that we have someone appropriate for, well, 2 people that are appropriate for the position. We are grateful for their help, and we should know more within 2 weeks. With that being said, the unfinished business for our business meeting is our reimbursements. Guys, this is the end of the year. For those of you who have turned your items in, thank you so much. For any members that have anything outstanding, if you could please, if we can get everything turned in tomorrow. Faith is working with us, and Haleen, as you know, is out sick. So we want to make sure we make things as easy and fluid as possible. If we do not get your reimbursements in before the fiscal end of the year, which is June 30th, you put us in a position where we have to move those monies out of a new budget. So we do ask for your help in making sure that we can reimburse you appropriately out of this year's budget. With that being said, do we have any new business under our business meeting? If not,
Let me ask you a question before we continue. So are we gonna not do the annual report discussion and the potential speakers, the review of that?
oh, the annual report stuff I went through on the committee part, and I'm going to bring forward during our calendar meeting the portion of what the writer gave us. And then we can, unless you guys would like to go ahead and vote in on that now. We do have to vote typically in a calendar meeting, but I'm okay to stop what we're doing now, pull up the parts that we're working on, show you what's there. Let me see if I have a most updated. 1 second.
What about for the review of the potential speakers for the calendar meeting?
Yeah, if the council members will allow, I want to double check with Dr. Burton to make sure I'm presenting the most edited, up-to-date part of what she's giving us for this next piece. So we can jump into, thank you, Co-President Daniels, people and discussions of who we want to bring into our calendar meetings upcoming so that we can go ahead and plan ahead. Do council members have any ideas at the top of their head currently? If not, you can always email the council and we can make sure any information and or speakers that you need or would like to have as a resource for our community is available. Don't want to put anyone on the hot spot, but I do want you guys to diligently think about that so that as we have our calendar meetings, we're informing our parents as we're also giving out the information that we have as a council. With that being said, do we have any ideas of speakers that we want to put on the floor at this time?
I have 2 possible speakers because I have some new information.
Okay.
So this kind of stems from something I went through personally. When I was told my daughter wouldn't be able to attend, well, my daughter rather was told that she wouldn't be able to attend college, right? Well, there's 3 different programs for our students with disabilities in the CUNY system. Some people are not aware of this. I know I wasn't. And this really opened up my eyes even for Jada as she graduates out next year. So there's a program for our kids who have IEPs and they're not standardized test students, they're alternate assessment test students. The program is called CUNY Unlimited for those type of students. Then you got 2 other programs that are a bit higher functioning, more for the inclusion kids with disabilities, where they can still go to college. So these are all 3 different applications. I want to invite these people to our meeting because I think the whole district needs to know about this, because I bring this to my school and it's already starting some problems because they don't want me to tell nobody about this. And I'm not gonna withhold this information and just keep it for my child when I could tell everybody that their child could actually do something else besides just go to a ComHab or a respite program. They could actually, even if they don't not able to take actual college courses, but they could get the college experience in some cases still with a program that's catered to them.
That sounds amazing. Absolutely. So we have the CUNY
I have
system.
the booklet right here, but I only have one.
Okay.
I brought it with me. I found this at a resource fair I went to. I believe it was at Montefiore Hospital. The thing, but there's 3 different programs. I'm gonna make copies for the council. Matter of fact, to
Okay.
get this tonight. I will send it to you by email if that's okay. So one is called CUNY Leads. That's for like the extremely high functioning kids who are in inclusion only. Now, my child didn't reach inclusion, but she's in the middle of that. She's in the middle, like she's stuck. I was calling like she's stuck in the middle. She's not low functioning, but she's not real high, my daughter. Then there's another program called CUNY Project Reach, and that's also for like students that's in inclusion more or whatever on the high functioning side. However, like I said, there's also another program called CUNY Unlimited, which I did not know about at all. I knew about ASAP and all these other programs, but I didn't know about this one. So this was new to me. So this one caters to the kids who are not standardized students that do not take state exams. Like they take alternate assessment exams, and they are the students who are not going to graduate with a diploma, like a regular diploma, but they will have that IEP diploma / credential, and they still accept those kids. And
Okay.
I told the teacher, when I hit this with the teacher that told my daughter she wouldn't be able to go to college, she was furious. Like, I proved her wrong, that could be another option for not only my child, but a lot of other people, kids. As long as your child is not extremely low functioning, these programs are for like a majority of our kids, though. I won't say all, but for the ones who it can meet their needs. So that's one program. And I have the contact information in my wallet. I will share it to the council in the email. Um, there's another program that if your young adult wants to drive, 16 years old and up, people with disabilities, there's a program called Adult United Voices. Now I also got this at the same place where I found this out at. So I was amazed that day. I learned something new every day. Um, this program teaches the young adults how to drive for free, not to pay, learn how to drive for free. And they only take a few students at a time, but they do it for free. And you can actually do it with your child. Like, for example, I don't know how to drive. So my daughter already stated she wants to know how to drive one day. So when I seen this, I said, this is for her and other students like that. I don't have a driver's license, learner permit, none of that. I could get that with my child and actually sit there too with her and get it as well. So it's incredible. And I need people to know about this program too.
Okay.
Again, it's called Adult United Voices. I have the contact information. I would email the council about it. I think these two people should be invited for maybe 2 of our meetings, or maybe we
Okay.
squeeze these 2 in one meeting or whatever. So I don't take over everything, and we give everybody else an opportunity to get somebody else in here into the council.
That sounds good. That
What I'm
sounds good.
choosing, I mean. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. No, that sounds great. So we'll lean back into you with those emails and those contacts, and we'll get the ball rolling to see when these people might be available to come to a calendar meeting. Do we have any other council members that have any new business for our business meeting agenda? If not, we will go ahead and adjourn our business meeting at 7:15 p.m. And we will move into our calendar meeting starting at 7:15 p.m. We are going to call to order the CCD 75 calendar meeting. Can we have a roll call, Recording Secretary Butler?
Andrea Daniel,
Present.
Christy Angel,
Present.
Risa Ari,
Present.
Vanessa Barrero,
Present.
Christy Montalban,
Present.
Shanique Butler.
I'll go ahead and be the timekeeper again. Council members, you have the agenda in front of you. Do we have any amendments for the agenda? If not, we will go ahead and move through the agenda being adopted as is. The first section is our approval of minutes. I do want to go ahead and let the council know again that our AA has COVID, and that means that our minutes are not yet available. The meeting is up and ready on YouTube for any parents or caregivers that have missed the meeting. We will do our due diligence to try to get those minutes up and available as soon as possible. With that being said, there is a sweet spot with our Vice President Montalban. We are really trying to make sure we give this information with summarizing to our parents and to understand the different things that are happening in regard to our children with District 75 with summarizing. So with that being said, we do have, Andy, let me get your name correct. Sorry, I have too many tabs open.
Andy Corso.
Andy Corso from the Department of Special Education. She works under Deputy Chief Academic Officer Fody. Forgive me for not knowing your title. What is your title again, Andy? Could you please state it for us?
Absolutely. I'm a Senior Executive Director in the Special Education Office, and I help support our schools and districts.
Thank you, Andy. And so Ms. Corso is going to be giving us an update in regard to summarizing. I know that we did have a few questions on the council. So now would be the time where we give the floor to you to be able to give us updates, and then we'll open the floor to council members for questions.
Wonderful. Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to be here. I also had the great good fortune to be at the District 75 Awards banquet last Friday night. It was beautiful. You know how to put on a great party. And it was wonderful to meet some of your children there. So thank you for that phenomenal event. Also, the food was delicious. So I was very happy to be a guest at the banquet. I'm pleased to tell you about Summer Rising, and mostly I do want to answer questions for you. So of course we have our students with 12-month IEPs will be receiving services in District 75 through Chapter 683. And those are their academic IEP services that happen during the core part of the day. And then all students, students with and without IEPs, have the option to go to Summer Rising. And the Summer Rising is led by our community-based organizations for our students in District 75. If there's a summer rising program at the same location where they're receiving their District 75 IEP summer services, they'll stay at the same location. If there is not a summer rising CBO at that same location, then they would get transportation to go to the summer rising location for that afternoon part of the day until 6 p.m., which is when summer rising ends. So that's something that all students, including students in District 75, could sign up for, which is the summer rising portion of the day after the IEP mandated services that happen during the morning time. That's the big overview. I love to spend most of our time on questions and happy to share more information, whatever is helpful with you.
I'll give the floor over to Council Member Vice President Montalban. I know that you had a few questions that you wanted to have answered. Did you want to lead the charge with that?
Sure, absolutely. So I did email over some questions previously, and I bumped that up earlier today, but I'll just go ahead and start with the most basic question. I think a lot of families want to know how exactly summarizing is funded, specifically where in the DOE budget do those funds come from, and what demographic of students is the program intended for?
Good question. So Summer Rising, I don't have where the funding comes from. I will find that out. That budget does come from the city budget. From the city of New York, they just allocated some additional funds for that. And Summer Rising is a enrichment program that is accessible. Any student in New York, no matter what setting they attend, can apply for Summer Rising and to get a seat in Summer Rising. So it's something that's open to all children in New York City.
I just kind of want to piggy off of that because I know
Sure.
you're saying it's accessible by meaning that anybody can apply, but
Yep.
just because anybody can apply doesn't necessarily mean that anybody can attend, because part of the problems that many of our families have experienced in the past is that the CBOs are not equipped to handle the special care that our District 75 children need. And actually, even children in general education have been kicked out of summer rising programs in the past because CBOs cannot handle their individualized needs. So that's a big concern, and we don't really know how it's inclusive for our children in District 75.
So I can share a few different things about that. Thank you so much for asking. So I think, first of all, if students are kicked out, then that's something that can and should be escalated as a conversation so that we can support our CBO partners. Here's what we do offer. So for the summer rising portion of the day, students with IEPs will have an accommodation plan. And that accommodation plan is sent by the child's home school and says a couple of things. First, do they need a para? And that could be a para of any type of support. Do they need a para that can support them? Do they need any nursing services, like a nurse? So those two things are indicated on the accommodation plan. And then the home school also indicates what types of classroom support strategies are successful for the student. And so could be strategies like providing visual supports, using assistive technology, all of the different types of classroom strategies. CBOs are receiving training on those strategies from the special education office, and we have additional resources to support the CBOs in addition to training, additional modules that they can complete as well on that. So that's the accommodation plan. Number two, so as a student from District 75, if it's appropriate for them who's attending Summer Rising, there may be a para that's funded and supported for that student. What there is not in Summer Rising, it's not an IEP mandated service. And so it is an enrichment program as opposed to a school program. And so while a para may be assigned, if that's what's requested, and we do the training on the strategies, that it is not a part of the day where it's a public education part of the day, where we provide every support and service that the child would normally get at their D75 program that goes above and beyond a para. I hope that's helpful.
And just my other question was, there were no Summer Rising sites in self-contained District 75 buildings this year. The ramifications of this decision have essentially excluded children in District 75 from participating in this program. Can you give us some insight on why this was decided?
I don't know how the site selection was made, but I can follow with District 75 on that. What I can share is transportation is provided. So they do have, if there is not a Summer Rising at the same location where students are receiving their academic program, their IEP program, they would have transportation to another Summer Rising location to still be able to participate.
The previous self-contained programs were ran by District 75 staff, though, and not CBOs, just for the record. So
Yep.
that's why the ramifications are so big. It's not the location, it's the fact that no programs are being run by District 75 staff and only CBOs.
That part of it I am not aware of in terms of the contracting for that, but I can follow up with District 75 on that.
Okay, thank you.
When you finish with the questions, Christy Montavon, I have a comment.
Sorry, I have a lot of questions. So what recourse will there be for families who go to attend Summer Rising programs and are told that they cannot accommodate their children and they can't participate? Is there like an email? Where can we escalate these issues if they come to us? If there is anybody attending?
Yep. So the first point of contact would be the principal in charge at the Summer Rising site. So it's called PIC, or principal in charge, and that's the person who is managing that school location, and that's a person that's employed by New York City Public Schools. So that would be the first person to raise that to, and then they could then escalate it as well. You can also, in that case, email the ESY inbox. I know extended school year is we just call it a different name for District 75, but we certainly support special education in the ESY inbox. I'll give you that information. Just a second, I'm going to pull it up for you. And it stands for extended school year. And ESY inbox, I just want to give you the right address. It's esy@schools.nyc.gov.
Okay, and just one last question from me.
Of course.
Or would you be able to provide the council with data that shows how many students from District 75 actually applied for this year, and maybe how many students attended the program in previous years as well?
I don't have it, but I can definitely ask. So I will be coordinating with our Summer Rising team and asking if we have and can provide that information.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Great questions.
Council members, do we have any additional questions for Ms. Corso?
I have a comment, not a question.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So the comment is, for what I understand, when I was on CPAC 2 years ago when Summer Rising first started, the program for our kids in particular that caters to our kids is really mostly for high functioning kids, like the inclusion students. I'm just going to state that for the record. So that the program is not for all of our students. Like, for example, my daughter couldn't go to that program because she's not an inclusion. So, and even though she's a little on the high side, she's not an inclusion student. Because a lot of the inclusion students tend to have less behavior challenges. But a lot of our kids do have behavior challenges, including sometimes my daughter, for example, have a little bit of behavior challenges. So that program does not suit a lot of our kids. from what I understand. I just want to state that for the record. Not to say it's not a good program.
Yeah.
I'm not discrediting it or anything, but it's not for a lot of our kids in District 75. That was my only comment, and I know some people may disagree with me, but I know the facts, and that is factual. Sorry.
Thanks, Co-President Daniels. And I think this aligns with some of the questions that I was hearing from Councilmember Maltavan. And what I can share, and I will try to get the data that you asked for, Councilmember Maltavan, because I think that will be a helpful data point to inform the conversation, is that we do specifically do training on positive behavior strategies for students with autism, for students that sometimes do have challenging behaviors. So we did that training live with our CBO staff this week. We're doing it virtually next week, and really providing, trying to provide some capacity building so that the staff are well prepared to be able to support students. I have challenging behaviors sometimes, and I just want to state that having challenging behaviors at times is not a reason that students should not be able to be successful in summer rising. And so that is support that we are providing, and I know folks have had tough experiences. So holding all of that reality at the same time.
Also, I'm glad they're getting trained because, that's one of the things I was pushing for like 2 years ago.
Yep.
So I'm glad to hear they're getting the training. So maybe things will get a little better in the future. I know the program is still a little bit new because it's like the third year in existence. So maybe they'll tweak it over time. I don't know. But I know that the District 75 staff, a lot of our staff have more of the training to deal with our kids. Not to say it's perfect, but the staff in District 75, a lot of us have more of the training. And I'm glad that the CBOs are getting that training now. I still don't think it's the same thing.
Understood.
But I'm glad that they're trying to at least fill in all the concerns about that, because I was one of the people back when I was on CPAT fighting with this about this program and the discrepancies.
Oh, you just went on mute for me, Co-President Daniels.
Said, hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
So some of the discrepancies at the time was that the CBOs or whoever was in charge of the program needed more training. I'm happy to hear they're getting the training. I know no program is perfect, but I just hope it gets better for the District 75 kids. I know the typical kids are probably more likely to get in this program or high functioning, mostly at this point with less behavior challenges. I'm just hoping that could change over time with the training. That's all.
Thank you so much, Co-President Daniels.
Thank you so much, Ms. Corso. Thank you, council members, for your questions for Summer Rising. We may have some parents who have questions in our Q&A session when we get to that. So if you could hang around a little bit, Ms. Corso, if not, we'll make sure to send those questions to you. And we thank you for your time. The next person on our agenda is Mr. Lorenzo Vaness. He's from the New York City Commission on Racial Equity, and he wanted to give us a brief introduction to the work that he is doing for our community. Lorenzo, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. And, just to be mindful of time, I will keep it, concise for folks, because I know we all have a lot of work to do. But thank you, everyone, for having me here. I'm really excited to be able to share a little bit about our work. I'm going to share my screen and kind of do an abbreviated version of the training that I usually do about twice a week, just to give folks information about CORE, or the Commission on Racial Equity. So just to let folks know, I'm going to briefly talk about where CORE came from, what our draft priorities are, and how folks can get involved, right? And so CORE really came out of the work of the Racial Justice Commission, which was established in March of 2021. They actually submitted to the ballot 3 measures, which folks might remember. In November of 2022, there was the Flip the Ballot initiative, right? And so if you voted in that and you voted yes to those measures, you actually voted to create CORE. And here we are. So, actually seeing what folks have voted for come to life, right? And so what CORE's mission is that we are meant to hold government accountable to racial equity plans, process, and progress. And we're meant to uplift community voice in government decision-making. So what that means is that essentially what folks voted for, one of the things that folks voted for was to add a preamble to the New York City Charter, which we actually haven't had a preamble in hundreds of years. And that preamble established 3 foundational values for our city: that our government would justly value all talents and contributions, that our government ensures the condition of thriving for every person, and that our government embraces vigilance, remedy, and reconstruction. And also the preamble is a really good read if you have some time, because it does uplift the fact that New Yorkers have been fighting for justice and for equity for long before any of us were around, right? And really recognizing that struggle, but also it recognizes that there have been many inequities and atrocities really in our history, right, of the city and also our country, that have continued to impact our communities, and increase inequity in our communities. So just to tell you a little bit about what CORE's mandate is, or what our plan is for the next upcoming years. The first one, which is what I'm asking folks with to help on, is to identify and propose citywide community equity priorities. We have drafted some priorities based on testimony and conversations with community members, with organizations, and lots of folks, which I'm actually going to drop in the chat a link to those priorities so you can take a look at them at your leisure when you have more time. But those priorities are important because what we are doing right now, we drafted them. We're looking for your feedback. We want to hear back from as many New Yorkers as possible. We want to make sure that these priorities are the things that you want us to fight for as the Commission on Racial Equity. We're trying to collect feedback through the beginning of August on these. So I encourage all of you to take a look at them and submit a response form if you're able to. You can either download it through the link that I sent, or there's also a virtual version of it that you can use to submit your thoughts on the proposed priorities that we created, and let us know what we missed, what needs to be added, what needs to be shifted. The reason these priorities are important is because every city agency, including the DOE, is going to have to create racial equity plans. Actually, I need to check on that, but I believe so. Has to create racial equity plans for in this year, and they have to draft some and issue them to the public so that we can give feedback on them, and then they would finalize these racial equity plans. And CORE is responsible specifically for reviewing and publicly commenting on these racial equity plans. And so once these plans are finalized, CORE will be responsible for tracking and publicly reporting on the compliance, with agencies on these racial equity plans that they've created. So making sure that we're continuing to push government and, make government more equitable, right, in the ways that the systems exist currently. And so another piece of our mandate is actually, unlike other city agencies, we're actually going to be the first agency that's assigned specifically to receive complaints about agency conduct that may have the effect of increasing racial disparity in the city. And we are also responsible for making recommendations to city agencies to address those complaints. So if there's a systemic issue within any city agency, if they institute a policy that is, creating or increasing disparity or have the potential to increase disparity, we want to hear about it. And then lastly, from our mandate, we also respond to requests of the Speaker of the Council and its committees regarding racial equity concerns. But what's important to know is that CORE is independent. Even though we are part of the government, we are independent and we're an accountability measure, right? So we're here to hold government accountable and to really be community's voice in government, so that we can push folks. And so I'm going to skip this piece here, but I will say that I mentioned the community equity priorities. And again, they are important because they will be influencing not only the racial equity plans that are going to be coming up, that are being created by city agencies and the citywide, but also the feedback that we get from folks on these priorities will allow us to give more responses and suggestions and strategies to city agencies, so that they can incorporate those into the racial equity plans. But also it is going to inform our research and policy and legislative agenda. So we, as an organization or an agency that's supposed to uplift community voice, we want to check in with community at every point in our work, right? And we're trying to do this in complete transparency. And so just to summarize some of the priorities, some of the language is pretty dense, but I'm gonna just give a kind of summary of them so that folks can have some idea of what we're asking for feedback on. But we have a priority, for example, like the first one talks about closing the gaps in terms of decision makers in our city, right? We don't want decision makers to just look like us in our communities. We want them to actually be committed to equity and to social justice, right? And community has also told us for number two that, decision making, community has to be involved in decision making at all points of the process, not just at the end, not only in the beginning of, creating legislation or budgets, but at all points of the process. Number three, we have closing the gaps in salary. We see that, salary disparity is a huge place where we see inequity in the world. And so closing that gap. For number four, we talk about language access, right? We want to make sure that we not only recommit to language access, but that we appropriately fund language access in city agencies, but also in organizations that work with the city. And then number five talks a little bit about like automated systems, like computer-based instructions, and how AI and other algorithms might make decisions in systems and how that can cause inequity. They come in three sets, the priorities, based on each value. So the value related to ensuring thriving for each person. We talk about funding prevention and providing legal support for families facing eviction, lease theft, and deed theft. For number seven, we talk about removing all government issued fees for services, or converting fees and fines to sliding scales, to really think about what equity would look like in the city. And then number eight, we talk about making sure that we have alternatives, right? We have alternatives to law enforcement when folks are having mental health crises. We see the need for that more and more every day, right? And we don't want families to not have options if they need support in a mental health crisis. Or number nine, which particularly I hope that folks will all, respond to that one, but that one's about increasing and appropriately funding schools. Particularly knowing that we continue to see an increase in like segregation and in schools, and also a disparity in terms of which schools have access to what resources. Then we also have a call for mental health, and substance use programs for our communities, and a call for, moving CUNY towards being free, because we know that CUNY was free at some point, right? And then it was actually, it was desegregated and it became, tuition based. And so we want to move government and move CUNY towards that. Then the last set of priorities is just we want to make sure that emergency planning and preparation and recovery is community-based. We saw with COVID and with Sandy, with Irene, with all these instances of crisis that, different neighborhoods needed different things. And we wanted to make sure that those decisions are informed by community and neighborhood-based. For number 13, we want to make sure that folks have access to purchase government and non-government land to continue to make sure that New Yorkers get to decide what New York looks like and what that property is, used for, and also to continue to build generational wealth and address some of the issues of historical redlining, right? Then we also have increasing accountability and disciplinary power of oversight bodies for law enforcement and all city workers. Any city worker is responsible to the public, and we should be able to be held accountable to the public. And particularly if we're, abusing our authority or, if our actions harm people. And then number 15 talks about closing the gaps in opportunities to employment, and also folks who are having opportunities to start their own businesses. And lastly, number 16 talks about reducing the number of people in jail and prison and court monitoring, and also transforming jails and these systems into rehabilitative centers, because, we know that those centers often had, previously had GED programs and college degree programs, and they no longer exist. So we want to make sure that communities have access to opportunities. So those are the priorities. I do hope that folks, I'll stop sharing for now, but I do hope that folks are able to use the link that I submitted to learn more about them, and also just let us know. We want to hear your voice about what you think about them. And I'm also going to drop another link if folks want to join an informational session that kind of expands on CORE and what we're doing. Please feel free to sign up. And lastly, I just wanted to mention to folks who are connected to different organizations, community-based groups or faith-based organizations, or any group in New York City, we have some funding to actually help groups have community conversations. So if a group wanted to facilitate a community conversation, we can provide up to $1,750 for organizations to host a conversation of 15 to 20 folks, or to facilitate these conversations. And if folks don't have the capacity to facilitate, you can get up to $1,000 just to host, to bring people in the room, and we would facilitate this conversation to get the feedback. So yeah, definitely please reach out to us on askcore@core.nyc.gov, and sign up for our social media at racialequitynyc.com. Or Racial Equity NYC, sorry. But thank you for letting me speak, and I hope that you all have a great day, and thank you for all the work that you do. I know that the young people in District 75 schools are lucky to have all of you working on their side. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Lorenzo, for that presentation. We will definitely make sure to keep in touch on this end with the council. Councilman, do we have any questions with what was presented by Mr. Vaness? If not, we will definitely make sure, as I said, to stay in touch with you as we move into this new school year, beginning on July 1st, and to make sure that we keep you accessible to other people in the community who want to be able to be a part of the work that you're doing. So thank you again.
Co-President Christy Angel,
Yes, ma'am.
one of the council members has to leave soon, so can we discuss I need to go in executive session for one, but we also doing the bylaws
Well, we went
amendment,
ahead,
right?
yes, with the agenda, since we've already voted on the bylaws, we can skip that portion. If we do want to go ahead, and if everyone is in the same mind, we can allow the district superintendent to go ahead and speak, because we are running a little bit over with both of these meetings. And then that way we can be brief with our updates, treasury report, and we can go ahead and help our council member leave at an appropriate time.
We still gotta go in executive session too.
Yes. So are we asking to, do we want to go into executive session after the district speaks, or you're trying to go into executive session prior to the district speaking?
We're gonna let him speak, and then we're gonna go into executive session, but I gotta bypass the other stuff after.
Okay, so we are going to table the other parts of the agenda so that we can allow our superintendent, Louis Font, to have the floor to speak about the update that we have for the council.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Co-President Angels and Co-President Daniels and all council members here. I am really feel privileged to share space with you tonight. I'll be as quick as I can be. So as you know, we are still trying our best to do the work with all stakeholders involved. And if anybody knows anything about us, you will know that since we were, you know, in different positions, we have always been collaborating with a variety of stakeholders. And at this point of the game, we really want to do nothing else but supporting our students, collaborating with you, and together building a better future for each and every one of them. We understand that teachers play a major role in the education of our children. That's why it was important for us to celebrate those that have decided to join District 75. So thank you to all of you, members of the council that have been present and that have attended two major teacher symposia or symposium. We were very happy that you could join us and help us celebrate our new teachers. Then we move on to our student. As you know, we have always held Spelling Bee in District 75 to celebrate our student ability to spell difficult words that some of us, including me, sometime I can stumble upon. But to have our children standing on stage in front of a large audience and spelling words behind a microphone, this is something we need to celebrate, not only during that time, but every day. And I need you to encourage them to continue to read books so they can really enrich their vocabulary. We also had, as you know, the middle school and high school debates teaching our students how to argue peacefully, how to share their point of view without getting upset, without using profanities, without doing anything untoward. So this is really a great skill. We are teaching them how to stand and argue your point. And that's what the middle school and high school debates were about. Citywide Saturday Art Education, you know about that already, that we never want our district office to be open. We want to make it available for all of our students. We have held the music seminars, as you know, and now we are moving into Citywide Saturday Arts event, and many of your children and our children are participating. Thank you for the Chancellor Town Hall. I feel in many ways it went well. It was successful. No major issue, you know, happened there. The technology was good, and we were able to answer most of the questions you have asked. And the questions that were not answered, we had provided the council with answers to those questions. I know you may have additional questions. Please feel free to forward them to us as much as you can, and we will do our due diligence to answer those questions for you, because we know out there are many parents that may not directly know what we do and how much we do them. And so we want to make sure we are always there proactively providing them with information so they can make the appropriate decision about their children. My brother's keeper and my sister's keeper, District 75 was never part of those initiatives, but 2 years ago, we applied because we felt that it shouldn't be only reserved for students in District 1 to 32. Our student can participate in my brothers in MBK and MSK. And let me tell you, I don't know if you have had an opportunity to see them, to see our young men and women debating, presenting their point of view, sharing their arguments and all that, presenting their platform. It is really something so heartwarming and impressive. Please, we can share with you when our next event will be, and you will see some young Latinos and African American young men and young women that are really asserting and affirming their ethnicity. It is really a very, very proud thing, of something that really would make you feel very proud of them. And so last Saturday, we were at Queens College with the chancellor, and the chancellor was there with other staff. Miss Chief Christina Fody was there as well, and we all came in together to celebrate our students that were participating in Unified Basketball Championship. Look, I went to Queens College as a student. I will tell you, I have gone to game there. That gymnasium was packed. And so many of our parents, a lot of our staff, and many of our students, a lot of them were there participating in this great basketball event. I know sometimes you don't know all the things we do. That's why we want to make sure we are telling our own story, right? We will, enough for people to be talking about what they don't really know and talking about thing we don't do when they don't really come in and see all the thing we do. Our next project will be telling our own story. When we're gonna initiate some advertising campaign about the district for people to really know, and we're gonna use some of you. So start getting the makeup ready and all that, because we're gonna put you right there in front of the camera so you can speak about our district, your district, the district where your children attend. And so we are all looking forward to that. I'm almost done. Graduation season is totally underway. And again, we are honoring our children and we are celebrating with our families. This is a great achievement and milestone for each and every one of them. We want to make sure whatever, anytime we can attend those graduation, you and I, we should be there. It doesn't even have to be your own child graduation. If you know a graduation that is not too far from your house and you have the time, our school will be happy to count you among our guests. Thank you to the council for joining forces with us and inviting us to be part of the successful, as Andy just shared before, a successful, grandiose awards banquet. It was well done. Yes, the food was good, and I feel like I should have eaten much more, but hey, listen, maybe next year. And so, thank you for including us. That's what we want to do, doing it with you. I think we are better together. And together we can go much, much, much farther. And so, so that's what we are doing now, preparing for Chapter 683. But beside that, I am sure our office must have contacted you. We want to make sure we are proactively engaging our families, putting myself out there, putting members of our leadership team there to answer questions for parents. For example, we want to partner with you and Co-President Daniels and Co-President Angel, and we want to partner with you to create orientation meeting for our turning 5 families that are entering District 75. We want you ladies to let them know how we work together, what they can expect, and how we want their children to be successful. You know me, when it's come to the district, I could talk the whole night, but I'm gonna stop here. So thank you.
Well, we definitely appreciate you. We appreciate your outreach and your collaboration with the council. I do want to say again for the awards dinner, Nora, Renata, Sacha, um, uh, uh, 396K. Thank you so much for the help that you did bringing that together. It was a beautiful thing to see, and it was just the level of teamwork that we both did together. I agree with you. We definitely make a better, powerful punch together. So,
Indeed.
continued thanks and looking forward to the continued work that we will be doing with you. With that being said, do we have any questions for the superintendent? Council members, do we want to open the floor up to the parents who are present so that they can ask their questions to the superintendent before we go into executive session?
That's fine with me.
All right. Do we, at this point, let's check in with our interpreters, Spanish, Mandarin, and Bangla. Do we have any?
Las personas que están escuchando, no questions from the Spanish line.
Thank you.
Well, no question in Bangla line as well.
Thank you. Do we have any questions on the Mandarin line? All right.
No question on the Mandarin.
Okay, thank you so very much. With that being said, Co-President Daniels, do we have any questions in person and or online for our superintendent or for the council?
Yeah, do anybody have questions, she said, for the superintendent?
If there are no questions for the superintendent, we do thank you guys for your time. We're going to try to diligently get you out of here within the next few minutes. With that being said, Co-President Daniels, is there a space for the council to step into briefly for a quick executive session?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay, well, Christy, myself, and you will jump on a conference call once the members are in another room so that we can jump into the session really quickly. Thank you to everyone that's online. We will be back momentarily. All right, thank you for your time and your patience. Council members are en route back to the space now. As we quickly give you your time back, council members.
Well, we're coming back to the table right now.
Yes. So we're going to go through this really quickly. For the annual report, the outline that I sent the council, the only thing that we have to do outside of that is fill in our recommendations on top of a couple of other pieces with the committee work that we have to add with that. So if everybody is in agreement with the portion that Dr. Burton has done, we can go ahead and have a motion on the floor to vote in her work so that she can go ahead and be paid before June 30th. And then we can try to finish our portion before or during August. Do we have a motion to approve the work that Dr. Burton has submitted to the council?
I make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
Recording Secretary Butler, would you be able to do a roll call for us, please?
Yes. Andrea Daniels.
Yes.
Christy Monroe.
Yes.
Christy Angel.
Yes.
Lisa Harris.
Yes.
Vanessa Valera.
Yes.
Shanique Butler, yes.
Alrighty, in the essence of time, we do have our budget that was given out to the council members. We only have about $9,000 left in reimbursements. We want to make sure everyone gets their monies back. So let's try to get everything closed out, hopefully, into the office for June 13th. Outside of that, I do want to give a couple of updates, and that is just thank you guys for the awards dinner again. Thank you to our council members. This was our first year together, and we did a lot of good work together as newbies together. So thank you guys. Additionally, we will be having a gallery set up for the photos from the awards dinner. If you did miss the Chancellor's Town Hall, it is uploaded and on video on our website on ccd75.org. Additionally, the Office of Special Investigation that's under the New York City Council, the Committee for Oversight and Investigations, they are requesting parents and different people who want to testify in regard to your experiences with OSI. If this is something that you would like to testify with or more information, please do reach out to the council at d75council@schools.nyc.gov. With that being said, do we have any unfinished business or new business on the floor for our final meeting for this school year? If not, I do see your hand, Miss Eileen. I'll make sure to get that email forwarded over to you. If we have nothing further, thank you everyone for this year. Thank you for your participation. Miss Ramirez, you wanted to speak? You have the floor.
I was just curious if you could put that information into the chat because there are multiple parents who might like to.
I would need to copy and paste it to drag it over. Let me see if I can do that. If not, what I can do for you guys is put it on the. You can? Okay, I'm going to forward it to you now, and then I can go ahead and put it on our website so it can live there as well. It's going to be June 18th at 10 a.m. and it will be online and in person. But I will make sure to forward that to you as soon as we get off of this call.
Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome. With that being said, if we have no further questions, we are going to go ahead and ask for a motion to dismiss.
We didn't do public comment.
Oh, I thought that we actually, okay, do we have any further? Oh, yes, we did. Do we have any further questions or comments from the public? We definitely want to make sure to not exclude you. Ms. Diaz, I see your hand is raised. You have the floor.
Yes, good evening, everybody.
Your wife, sorry.
Thank you, everybody for attending. I just want to, again, a lot of people, I'm Michelle Diaz, and my husband is Luis Diaz, Sergeant, retired Sergeant Luis Diaz, who's back there. And our superintendent, Mr. Kellner is there also. I just want to continue about the retaliation that my family has been receiving towards us about the administration from 596.
Ms.
My
Diaz,
my son was physically abused multiple times, and we continue receiving retaliation by the administration from
Ms. Diaz,
596.
not to cut you off, but we do want to keep this meeting germane in the sense of the council is aware of what is happening with your family.
Right,
We
but
definitely do have.
it's continuing. It's been it's emotionally a draining on us. It's been continue.
And we are here to support you. And we also know that this is under investigation, so we're not allowed to speak on that in this particular meeting. However, we have your back 1,000%. We will continue to support you and continue to support you with the district. However, we do have to have this discussion offline because it is something that is being investigated. We do not want you to feel
596 is a place for no hate, but that starts with the higher ups from D75 and the administration. That goes all the way. That's how our children learn.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And we continue getting retaliated. We continually getting bullied. We continue, and it's emotionally draining on our family. And we're asking to stop. And we're asking our superintendent calendar there, who's there, who's supposed to be having our backs also, but he hasn't.
We Ms. Diaz, I just to keep us germane and to keep us in a correct space. We don't want to be in a space of lack of decorum where we are, we definitely can have our opinions and things, but we do want to be respectful online with the family members that are here.
Right, but respect goes both ways. We keep getting
yes, Ms. Diaz, and
it comes to the point where I have to speak up. I have to speak up because
we definitely want to, we want to keep it germane and keep us in a point of order. So what I will do
for
is
Tristan Diaz. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Tristan is at the forefront of our minds. We will continue to work with the district. We will continue to work with your family, with the CEC 11 that has been very supportive. We do not want you to feel like you're alone. We do know a lot of things have been moving forward. We've reached out, Dr. Hogart and a couple of other people have reached out this week. We will, as council members, reach out to you again to make sure that you do continue to feel supported. With that being said, we do want to give the floor over to Ms. Celia Green, who has her hand raised. Thank you, Ms. Diaz.
All right. Good evening. All right. So I have a couple of comments. It's not going to be 1 minute though. So it's advance warning. First and foremost, I wanted to comment on the vacancies. There was a vacancy, not the vacancies themselves, just a notice. There was a notice that was sent out, but it was borough specific. Did they change in the state law anything for 75? Meaning that usually it's just, if it's a vacancy, as long as it's a parent or guardian of a child in the D75 program, that it's okay for them to apply.
I can double check with that with FACE, Ms. Green. What we as a council were trying to do was I don't know, this year was a little bit different when they did the forums and when they elected the different people into our positions, right? The people from Queens, like myself and another person, we went to a Queens forum alone. The Bronx had a Bronx forum. Every borough had a separate forum. So what we wanted to do was to make sure that we still had people representing those spaces when we were losing people within them. But as of right now, we're definitely open to anyone who wants to submit to the council. We are not trying to, we won't say, no, you're not from the Bronx, so you can't put in your application. We wouldn't do that.
Okay, I just wanted to, I appreciate what you're saying, but I also just want to make sure that people understand that according to the state law, the only one that is borough specific is CCHS. That all the rest of the citywides, you can join if you need to join, so to speak, as long as you meet the other qualifications.
Yes.
The other thing, well, several of the things, but it's one of the things to say. Oh, One of the things that was mentioned was executive board. CECs and citywides don't have executive boards. Yes, they have officers. So president, vice
Could you
president,
put
and
that
so
back
on.
into context? I think I'm a little bit lost about what you're meaning.
It was mentioned earlier. I don't remember what part of this thing, during the business meeting. Something was mentioned about an executive board of CCD 75.
I'm not
CCD
sure. I'm not sure what that might have been. We were talking, if you're talking about the executive portion, which would be in name, vice presidents, co-president, recording secretary, we aren't moving in any particular way where different members outrank members of.
No, that's not what we're talking about. What I'm saying is that there's no such thing as a executive board in a CEC.
We're not,
or
we
in a
went into
city.
executive session. We didn't go into an executive board.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Okay,
Wait for a second. Wait for a second.
You have all the time.
For executive boards, they are for PAs, PTAs, or whatever, right? For
we don't just for
councils,
clarity,
for the
we don't have an executive board. We have executive members.
But it was stated. That's the only reason I'm clarifying it, because it was stated. It wasn't stated by me, but I'm just saying, so that people that don't know going forward, there are officers. So officers like president and co-president and vice president. You are all officers of
Executive
CCD
officers.
7.
Yes.
No,
yes.
not executive. You're all officers of CCD 75. Thank
you, Ms. Celia. As we advise our executive officers through FACE, we can definitely go back and get the language corrected and put it on the website or anywhere else for our parents to know officially what that is. Just thank you for definitely bringing that up.
All right. I'm going to ask Mr. because FACE happens to be here. I'm going to ask him if.
Oh, absolutely, no problem.
If the wording is executive board or is it just officers?
That's which executive, but whatever you may want to ask, that's perfectly fine. Do we have a secondary question?
Yes, the last thing, the last question is about, well, two last questions, sorry. One, IPRs are not for citywides, because citywides, as you know, you handle a lot more schools and locations than an average district. Other than that, the most populous district has 65 schools, which I think is District 2 or something. You handle a lot more. You handle a lot more than that. You handle hundreds of schools.
If I may, as I know you are a former member of the council, so I thank you for your information. But as our council has currently been working with FACE and with our newest orientation, citywides are doing IPRs, and we can basically format that in the way that we would like to. So that is what we have been doing with our council members. It may not be mandatory, but that is what we have decided to do moving forward with FACE and with our council. Is there an additional question?
All right, last but not least, I wanted to ask about the bylaws. Because we had voted, not now, but we had voted back in February, I believe, in February 2023, to add Article X, which would be Article 10. Right? To modify, sorry, Article 10. Then I think it was in June, in June, we got another copy on June 30th, right? Just before I left, that was signed by the other co-president, which was Ms. Tsai, who was not the president, but she signed it as the president. So the title was mislabeled.
I want to make sure, do we have, just while we're on the fourth question, do we have any other present parent who, we actually have letters that have 4 questions. I want to be very fair. If there are other parents who do want to ask a question while we still do have our people on the call.
Not a problem, go ahead.
Diaz was next.
Who was next?
Mr. Diaz.
Mr. Diaz, you have the floor. We can circle back to Ms. Green's bylaws question. We just want to make sure we give other parents time and that we are germane with our council members who do have to leave. Mr. Diaz?
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I wish I could be fine, but I want to thank the city council for this for letting me speak here. I'm here because for my son. Everybody should know that my son 3 times He was physically. He was multiple times in the school. He was hurt. He was given. He was hurt in this school with unknown injuries, and we still have not found anything why it's happening. And during this time, and I understand there's an investigation. During this time, we pulled him out at March 8th for home instructional. And since that time, there's been a history by Mr. John Syracuse, the
Oh,
principal
Mr. D.
here, and he has retaliated against me and my family. And this is a history. Everybody knows. And it should be a cohesion with the school, to help out with the trauma. But when people start harassing you or sending false HIPAA forms or certain documents
Mr.
without
Diaz,
your
if I
name,
may, we
that's a problem.
definitely want to uplift you
That's
guys,
a problem.
but with this being under investigation, we really aren't in a space where we can discuss this in a public forum.
Well, this is an open meeting. This is about.
It definitely is an open meeting, but it's an investigation.
This is not my son's situation. We
We
talk
don't
about
want
the retaliation. That's what my shirt is.
Right. So we
It's not
don't want to
investigating.
disparage anyone while we're having this investigated, while we're supporting you, and while we're working with the district for you. So we just want to make sure within this meeting that we keep it.
If we don't work coherently, and I just want people to know that I'm a retired Army sergeant. I work for Children's Services. Okay, I'm a local union for 371 delegate. And tell you the truth, it's supposed to be coexistent with the principal and everybody to help with this trauma. And guess what? The principal has not done that. And when he continues to do that, I will ask for the immediate removal for him.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz. I do want to go ahead and we're going to give the floor back to the council. I do hear you. We do want to just make sure that we're moving appropriately as a council with things that are legally outside of our hands. We do want to make sure that we continue to support you, Ms. Diaz, especially Tristan. I did get some information that you were discussing with home instruction. I would like to speak with you again about that, but I do just want to make sure that we're keeping everything germane in this particular space. So I thank you. Please do not feel cut off. We have your backs. You have our phone numbers. You have our emails, and we will continue to work in collaboration to assist you. Co-President Daniels, are there any other hands raised before we go back to Ms. Green briefly?
I didn't see no other hands. You want to go back to Ms. Green?
Yeah,
I'm
gonna speak to what Ms. Green is speaking of, and then we can just go ahead and move that
All right,
offline
you
because
we're moving into
a very long meeting.
Let you know Ms. Butler has to leave?
Yes. So with that being said, Ms. Green, just to double back with you, Article 10 was adjusted. Anything that our bylaws committee did in our former committee council has been added into the bylaws. When the bylaws were signed by myself, by Amy Tsai, and by Ms. Butler, and by former recording secretary, now Vice President Montalban, we did do everything that was in order, and we did make sure that we did what the bylaws committee did for our former council. We added it into the old bylaws and into the new bylaws, which we have a new template from FACE where we have made those edits. If there's further conversation about that, we definitely would be happy to have that offline. But to move into a space where we definitely need to give our council members their time back. And if there are no further questions within the audience, we would like to go ahead and move into adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Motion.
All right, it has been motioned and seconded. This meeting is now adjourned at 8:26 p.m. Our next meeting will be July 24th for our annual business and calendar meeting. Is there something else, Ms. Arias? Are we? Okay, with that being said, council members, please have a great night. Please do calm down. We do understand that emotions are raised. But we want to go ahead and move in a space of peace.
All right. Christy Angel, I need to really end this meeting.
We're adjourning. We are releasing interpreters at 8:27 p.m. Thank you.